All right, we've been on a roll here. Let's do Goku versus Cell during the Cell game saga. Of course, it sounds classic, but I'm going to go ahead and flip the script here. Instead of the usual battle that we had on this stage, let's think about a fight through the lens of Goku's philosophy as a fighter. Now, you see, it's clear that I think Goku's always been pushing his limits, and I think, on the other hand, with Cell, the stakes were different. Cell wasn't just an opponent to beat, he was the ultimate test of Goku's role as a mentor and a protector when you really think about it. So what if Goku had tapped into his Ultra Instinct during the Cell Saga fight? This is what I'm talking about. Let's put ourselves into this type of scenario. You're not then just talking about raw power. You're talking about deeper calmness, deeper awareness, and how would that have changed the fight and the actual outcome? Because you're not talking about a Super Saiyan or a Super Saiyan 2 mindset Goku facing Perfect Cell at that time. You're talking about an Ultra Instinct mindset and philosophy Goku facing a Perfect Cell, right? You see the clear differences that I'm talking about. We're talking about the same character, but two completely different versions, in my opinion, in a fighting form of his character, right? So maybe Goku wouldn't even feel the need to fight aggressively. He would just outmaneuver Cell, obviously, with instinct and precision. And I'm curious if it would just look as one-sided as you think, or if Cell would somehow actually respond to that if given he felt it was actually a true test and a real fight. I think it was clear going in, both Cell and Goku knew they weren't going to kill each other. I think I even picked up on that watching it for the first time at the age of 11 or 12, whatever it was during that period. So I don't think it's out of the question to say that if Cell actually feels like he's under existential threat, truly, and there was times Goku could have killed him. I know there was a close moment with that warp command, but like that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about from the very beginning. It's clear that like, oh, you could die within a couple of seconds, like how Frieza didn't even realize Trunks was going to cut him up into a dozen pieces before he was then going to be blown into nothing. Like he had that's what I'm talking about here, guys. Like I'm talking about that type of existential threat, that type of existential crisis. If Perfect Cell was in that scenario, is he just a goner based off of raw power from Ultra Instinct Goku, or does he actually evolve to a point that Cell's character never actually showed us on screen and or in the manga? So I think when you look at the fight like that, then you have a different scenario where either Cell's going to evolve to respond, and then we get some super evolved, super perfect Cell. I don't know what you would call him, right? It's not out of the realm of possibility. Dr. Gero literally created him to be that type of thing, the perfect fighting machine with the perfect DNA that could respond, adapt, and essentially fight to anything. Cell was obviously really cut short of what he ultimately could have been as the ultimate fighting machine had he stayed around in the series for a long period of time. Imagine if he was Goku's rival truly instead of Frieza for all of these years in time. Imagine how strong Cell would actually be had he not died at the hands of what am I talking about? Goku's son Gohan, right? Let's think about it there for a second. I was going to go two different ways with that, but I'm like, no, let's just keep it a buck here. Gohan is the sole reason why Cell could never get to that point. And let's be honest, Goku let that decision be the case. He knew he tapped his limit, and he felt that his son Gohan would probably respond better, even given the stress, because he watched that happen on Planet Namek. He watched it happen on Earth with his own brother Raditz. So I think when we put all of this into consideration here, yeah, I don't know how it really plays out. I think Cell would respond. I think a Cell that doesn't die, I think a Cell that's fighting at an Ultra Instinct type level or hasn't reached it yet, I think he could get to that point very quickly. Cell to me is kind of like a hit from Universe 6, a Jiren, a Broly. Cell is a fighter that would have kept evolving had he stayed alive. I think fans forget that and they're like, oh no, he maxed out, bro. That was it. It's like, no, he was going to get stronger, I think, had he actually been able to train, find motivation to train, and do as other fighters did. You know what I mean? Frieza and Cell are both villains in the same bucket. Neither of them, well, especially in Frieza's case, he didn't feel the need to train until he realized training would have actually helped him. Now it's clear that he does train to some extent. Cell realized, not realize, he didn't realize, but he felt well, I'm already perfect. That was his realization. There is no need to train. Had he actually thought about it realistically, he would have continued to train. That is my whole point here. So I think the script obviously plays out differently when you talk about that type of perfect Cell, whatever you want to call that elevated version of him, how he responds versus Ultra Instinct. That would be an awesome fight to see. And they only brought him back as a giant pinata, basically, as Cell Max in the superhero movie. I don't count that garbage at all. I love the movie, by the way. I just hated facing a Cell Max that I knew was just going to be, essentially just strong for like a short period of time. And then there's the save, which was a cool save, by the way. One of the coolest. But nonetheless, Cell Max is still pretty lame to me. That's just my thoughts. You guys, let me know yours in the comment section below. Yeah, I kind of like where I'm going with this. I hope you guys are enjoying, because I'm liking to look at these fights in different ways and think about the mindsets and how these would play out under different circumstances, not just the traditional breakdown of what we've seen or talked about most of our Dragon Ball anime lives. So let me know your thoughts. Again, appreciate your love and support on the channel. Make sure to subscribe here for weekly Dragon Ball discussion content. Stay tough, stay there.